Charleston, South Carolina was a city shaped by the tides, a port where ships came and went, but the past never left. In the spring of 1919, the war had ended, but the tension between Black veterans and white sailors simmered just beneath the surface. Pride and resentment walked the same streets. On the night of May 10th, the spark came quietly. A group of white sailors confronted a Black man near a pool hall on Beaufort Street. Words were exchanged, then blows. Rumors spread faster than the truth. Whispers that a Black man had shot a white sailor. Whispers that Black men had insulted white women near the docks. In Charleston, rumor was enough to open the door to violence. Within an hour, hundreds of white sailors poured out of the Navy Yard and into the city. They moved in groups, armed with clubs, pipes, and whatever they could grab. They stormed into Charleston's Black neighborhoods, attacking residents at random. Windows shattered, doors splintered. People ran for safety as the mob swept through the streets. But Charleston's Black community did not face the night unprepared. Many were veterans of World War I, men who had fought in France, men who had worn the uniform of a country that still denied them basic rights. They had returned home with a sense of dignity that Jim Crow could not erase. When the mob advanced, some of these veterans defended their homes with gunfire. The clash turned the city into chaos. Shots echoed through the narrow streets. Sailors overturned streetcars, dragged Black passengers out, and beat them. Businesses were ransacked. Families hid wherever they could, behind locked doors and alleys, in the shadows of the port that had shaped Charleston's history. By midnight, the violence had grown so severe that Admiral Frank Beatty ordered Marines and naval police into the streets. They marched through Charleston with rifles and bayonets, trying to push the mob back. By 2:30 in the morning, the riot had been forced into silence, but the damage had already been done. At least 5 Black men had been killed. Dozens more were injured. More than 100 people were arrested, most of them Black. Homes and businesses were left in ruins. And yet, even in the aftermath, the truth of what happened tried to slip into the shadows. But Charleston's Black community refused to let the story be buried. The newly formed Charleston NAACP demanded answers. They demanded protection. They demanded justice for the men who had been killed and for the families whose lives had been torn apart. They insisted that the city acknowledge what had happened, that the violence had not been random, but rooted in fear of Black pride, Black service, and Black resistance. The Charleston riot became one of the first major eruptions of the Red Summer. It revealed a truth that echoed across the country in 1919. Black veterans had returned from war unwilling to bow their heads. White mobs reacted with fear and fury, and cities like Charleston became battlegrounds where the future of Black dignity was tested. In the days that followed, Charleston tried to return to its routines. Ships still docked, markets still open. But the memory of that night lingered in the humid air. The shattered glass, the overturned streetcars, the families who hid in silence, all of it became part of the city's buried history. Yet the truth endured, carried by those who lived it and those who refused to let it fade. This is the story of Charleston, South Carolina. This is the story of a city where rumor became violence and where Black courage met the rising tide of white fear. They tried to erase it. They tried to silence it, but we are still here, still telling the truth. If this episode challenged what you thought you knew, don't keep it to yourself. Push it forward. Start the conversation they tried to silence. This is Black Justice Untold. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe.